Bonjour! Vive la France! Come join us as we visit one of the very first cities in France, the beloved Strasbourg.
Come with us today and discover something.
Join me. Perhaps you may be able to help solve a mystery.
Hi everyone, welcome to Learning Brave. I'm Skylar.
And I'm Ross.
Today we are going on an adventure. We're telling stories, crazy stories, and showing you an amazing part of France.
When I was at high school, I learnt French, and it was a dream of mine to go to France and to just participate in some of the awesome things that I learnt from back in Australia in my high school years.
I never thought 20 years ago, when I was learning French, that I would make it to France. I've made it. And I don't remember any of it.
Actually, every time he talked about France, he talked about pain au chocolat.
Pain au chocolat.
Like constantly, endlessly.
Chocolat chaud.
Chocolat chaud, pain
Baguette.
au chocolat. And it was just like, that's all I knew. That and Beauty and the Beast.
So on our epic journey we started in southern Germany, drove all the way across Switzerland because we're like, we can't stop in Switzerland, it's way too expensive, into France, all in one epic day. As we went over the border into France, it was a happy day for me. I was like, yeah, vive la France!
Yeah,
finally made it! But our initial driving into France wasn't quite what I expected. In fact, I went from these lovely German and Swiss roads to the French roads, and that was a little bit different.
I was slightly disappointed. I may have expected villagers to burst into charming song.
Look, there she goes, that girl is strange, no question.
Why?
Because like all my knowledge comes from Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast, okay.
It did not prepare me though for the lack of restrooms. Any toilet facilities whatsoever in the evening time if you're driving as a family. Ooh.
So we did take a side of the road toilet break for those in our family who were able to do that. But the rest of them?
No, I was like...
We were searching.
My first time in France, the most romantic country. I'm not going to have my first act in France be peeing on the side of the road.
No.
No way. Not happening.
So we actually, I think that day we went like really late at night. I think we arrived at our accommodation like 11 o'clock, but little did we know the last hour was through the mountains. And luckily, just before we hit the mountain roads, there was a tiny village and we hoped that there would be a bathroom. But
instead, well, yes, but these golden heavenly arches rose above us as we drove. I normally hate McDonald's, but in this case,
it was heaven sent.
It was amazing.
And literally the golden arches of McDonald's popped up in the middle of a dark and dreary French village. I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it.
So we peed and ate French fries. First act in France. Thankfully, it was not peeing on the side of the road. It was peeing in McDonald's and eating French fries.
For some of us, we did pee on the side of the road, so that was our first act in France.
It's one small step for man.
When we arrived in France, I forgot that, like, they kiss each other to say hello. So we arrived after, like, the whole nowhere to pee drama.
Yes, and we've just been in German-speaking lands that don't kiss each other, do they?
No.
Austria or Switzerland.
No. And it'd been really stressful. The kids had been crying and it had been a long day. Like Ross said, we went through like 3 countries and it was just like the longest day ever. And so we arrived at this Airbnb at nighttime, frazzled, and this guy comes up to me and is like...
Well, hang on, first of all, I got to explain. When we arrived, there was like tents outside, and the tents had all these people. It was like a hippie commune at our Airbnb. We had the house.
Yeah, we had the house, but there was like a hippie hangout to the side.
He came up and you could tell he was absolutely... He'd been smoking marijuana, was completely off his face.
I couldn't tell that.
Yeah, you could smell it.
He might have just been really friendly.
He was very friendly. You could smell it though. So he was a little bit not himself, and
he's like, "Oh, bonjour."
Bonjour, and he leant in for a kiss. of greeting to my wife, and my wife did this.
I was like, no, just no. And my face was like, back off, dude. And he was like, bonjour. Whoa, whoa.
I think he did. He's like, oh. I don't think
maybe not.
He wasn't expecting the look of back off, buddy. It was really good. A good memory. I'm glad you remembered that. That's great.
Okay.
Nobody messes with my wife. Anyway, after having a wonderful introduction to France, we did get a chance to go to one of the local larger towns that we didn't really know much about at all, did we?
It's a city. But when you think of France, you normally think about
Paris, Bordeaux, Monaco.
I don't know what I think of. Mostly just Paris.
Yeah, mostly Paris.
Yeah, mostly Paris.
Little did we know that hidden in the northeastern corner of France was an amazing city called Strasbourg.
In fact, Strasbourg has hit our top 5 cities in Europe.
Absolutely.
So it made the list. It was that amazing. So, what did we love about Strasbourg? How do we...
Well, first of
We're
all,
butchering now, we're butchering French.
I love the history because Strasbourg is not a French word. It's a German word.
That's
Strasbourg is German.
That's why I'm butchering it.
Yeah. And
Strasbourg.
so, little did I know that part of France and Germany had been going back and forth for centuries.
But the end result is a beautiful, charming city on the border between France and Germany that has a whole section of the city called Little Paris.
It was amazing.
And it's like being in Paris. It's amazing. Like we got this little Airbnb and we walked out as a family and there were bridges and rivers and cathedrals and churches and it was just like...
It was like...
heavenly.
It was like being in Paris.
Yes, it was. We saw we saw one beautiful church and I was like, this is like the most amazing church I've ever seen. And then we walked
into the center square of Strasbourg and saw one of the churches of Notre Dame.
Yes, it's
not the Notre Dame of Paris, but it's one of the Notre Dame churches that are very similar. Who would have known that there was a Notre Dame cathedral in Strasbourg?
I didn't know that.
Neither did I.
No, Beauty and the Beast did not prepare me for that.
No. And Victor Hugo actually described it such.
Victor Hugo said it was a delicate and massive marvel.
Amazing.
Of the Strasbourg Notre Dame Cathedral. And it was amazing. Like so detailed and delicate and massive.
It was awesome. And we were there right at the right time because they had a summer lights festival.
No, that was in the evening.
Yeah, in the evening time. And that was all, the backdrop of the church was the lights show. It was amazing.
It was amazing. It was free. You could go there and see this incredible light show. It was amazing.
So cool.
And then the gross thing was that our daughter licked like every pole.
Really?
In Strasbourg.
Yuck. Now, I don't know if you guys can see, but it's raining.
It's raining. We gotta go. Okay.
We're back. We're back after our storm interruption.
Yes. My daughter did, in fact, lick every pole in Strasbourg. And didn't die. It gives me hope that, we can fight off germs.
Good gut bacteria.
Travel. It's good for developing gut bacteria, which is great for all sorts of health. All sorts of health benefits.
Very true. Now, we did that, the evening we spent in Strasbourg, we did get to go out that night to the Cathedral of Notre Dame. And it was awesome. They had a light show going on where, what did they show? It was like a
universe and like...
Yeah, it was like the creation of the world or something all
with
on
music. It was long. It went for at least half an hour.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah. And free, for free.
So who would have known that there was a light show on the side of the Notre Dame Cathedral?
Strasbourg, it's not a place people often think about when they think about France, but it is beautiful. Like, we went to 12 countries in our Europe trip and it made our top 5.
Yep.
Like, it was magic. We absolutely loved it. Didn't we?
Absolutely
loved it.
That was up there with
Lovely.
Salzburg, up there with Prague, up there with... What else did we see? Venice and definitely Budapest.
Thanks everyone for joining us today. And come along next time for some more crazy stories and tips and tricks for travel and for life.
And it's about to absolutely pour here. We better go.
Bye!
See you next one. Bye.
Run!
Run! Quick, my computer, quick, quick!